Good afternoon. This is going to be a short education session on gold and how I managed to catch the top. Now, if you've been trading gold or following it at all, then you know we've had a killer year. Um, had 9 weeks of just straight pumping, and we're up 60% year to date, which is absolutely insane for an asset that was worth £2,500 at the year when the year started. Do you know what I mean? Now, the only bit of price action that really matters to me was this sort of range here. Once we got up to the 3,000 area, now we can see we have a low and a lower low here. This range here is what I was speaking about in my previous videos on this channel. Actually, I don't even think it was that high in particular. I think it was this one for the range, but it doesn't matter. The low to the high here is what I use for my projection. I stuck a fib on it from the bottom wick to the top wick there, and I had graded levels going up. Yeah, if I can just get these on nicely, maybe I'll change time frame quickly. I'm just going to mark these out quickly just so we can see what I was talking about. They might not be perfect here, but they'll be good enough to understand what we're talking about. Now, I'm grading the 1 standard deviation, the 2, the 2.5, the 3, and the 3.5. I'm not going to touch the 4 just yet because that's out of sight right now. I'm not too interested on prices going much higher than this at the moment. Yeah. 34, 3307 is going to have to be it, right? So this 3rd standard deviation here, if we just look back, yeah, the number 3 is our high. Now you can see on, this is the 4-hour chart, we were respecting these levels very well. This was the 2 standard deviation, this was the 2.5. I was doing a lot of shorts around this area here because I was expecting a reversal on the 2.5 standard deviation, as that is a area of interest for reversals to take place. If the reversal doesn't take place between the 2 and the 2.5 standard deviation, chances are it continues all the way up to 4. Now we've continued up to 3, and we've had a pretty strong reaction here towards the downside, literally to the tick. You can see we swept the 4375, and then we swept it again, this time failing to sweep the liquidity. Yeah, so that first high remains intact. This second high was just below it. You can see we had 4 taps onto this level, right? If this was a projection you had on your screen, you could have just had an entry set here with pretty much 0 drawdown. This is on the 5-minute chart, this is the 15. We can see we went straight back down into the 2.5 standard deviation here, which was basically the entire Thursday range, which was reversed. I am interested in further shorts. I'm not expecting this high or 4375 to be taken again. As for what that will look like for further entries, I'm not too sure yet. I'd like to see this hourly candle close, and I'd like to see maybe this fair value gap here post the CISD to get filled with a continuation lower. However, because we've had so much movement this week and all these other previous weeks, I did mention earlier in the week that gold was getting exhausted, and I said this because you could see this is the 4-hour chart. All these candles, they're very tiny. They're indicative of manipulation, although these particular ones here are clean price delivery. some of these smaller bodies entail that there's not really strength in the market, and as you can see, we got to our point of interest and we got our reversal. As for the plan for the rest of the year, keep these highs. These are my protected highs right now. I'm not interested in any longs until we're in a 6-hour position that looks promising enough to take that high. And for future trades downwards, I would maybe like to see a little entry in this fair value gap here. But honestly, with the rate that we've been climbing, I would not be surprised if one of the news events, possibly next week or once government opens, just shits this thing down. It will absolutely send it down. Now, my targets for lower will include, you see that range here, that also lines up pretty nicely. I want the 50% here, which was actually the first standard deviation from that projection here. That's 50% of the range that we've created here. Yeah. So at a minimum, 3746. I'd like to see a retest of here before a continuation up. That's obviously below 4,000, but realistically, I'm looking for it to reach here. And once we do get back down here, I think the general sentiment across Twitter will be that, oh yeah, gold has topped, in fact. But just don't forget who called it. Do you know what I mean? It's all time stamped. I might even include some of those screenshots on this video for you non-believers. It's no hindsight, no nothing. These are levels I had on my charts for God knows how long. As you can see, something similar on what I had. The actual entry I took myself, just gonna run through that. So I was actually on the 1 minute chart, post sweep of that higher time frame projection. As you can see, we broke down, created an order block here, which we have highlighted. We managed to sweep the low. We then swept the high, return back in the range. Swept that high again, while also creating a 5 minute fair value gap. Yeah, pay attention to this. Some good source. This is the first presented 5 minute fair value gap in Asia. Yeah, find out when your Asia kill zone starts. It starts at 8 o'clock. This is the first presented 5 minute fair value gap. Now you can see we broke down below it, retested into it, and had a really explosive move downwards towards the bottom. I think we managed to sweep the PM session lows before returning back up. We can see we respected that inversion fair value gap again, broke above it to sweep 4375, made another sweep, a higher high, to provide us with the setup going into London Open here, right, where we've got some fair value gaps that allowed us to short in there. But as you can see, that 5 minute fair value gap was in fact responsible for that entire move. This is the same fair value gap that was mentioned in the Discord prior to it even closing below it. Attached screenshots here. You can see price has been quite explosive so far. I am personally done for this week. I don't think I'll be chasing any more entries. I'll just continue to hold my original entry, which happened to be at 4374, I think it got filled. As well as that 5-minute fair value I mentioned. I had entries on there on another account. At the minute, it's all risk on. I'll be honest, for myself, I'm doubling the lots that I've been entering recently.